Hello, my powerful people. Today we're going to talk about our needs. And I'm not talking about the need for the newest phone or to go to the coolest party or be part of the latest trend. I'm talking about our deepest needs as humans. All the way from simple things like food and water up to our relationships, all the way up to really understanding who we are. And we're going to look at a chart from Abraham Maslow, a psychologist who created a hierarchy of needs in 1943. And now there's 5 levels to this, moving all the way from what's called D needs or deficient needs, which are really simple, basic life needs, all the way up to B needs, which are more needs of understanding who we are and becoming our fullest self. So we're going to start off at the most basic level of physiological needs. And now these are simple things like air, which is obviously good. We need that so we don't suffocate. Water, food, so our tummies don't grumble. And even though we enjoy getting creative with food, it's still a super basic need. We need shelter and sleep and clothing to protect our bodies, and we can still have fun with that as well. Becoming who we are with our identity and clothing. And reproduction, everyone loves good physical relationships and sex. So these are some basic needs that everyone has to be able to survive. Because without some of these things, we wouldn't survive. We wouldn't survive without water or food or air. We could survive without clothing. We would have a really hard time surviving without sleep and shelter. And it's hard to survive without sex and reproduction and filling the earth with new people. So these are super basic things for ourselves and for the world. And once we've met these, we then move on to the next level of safety needs. Now these are really needs of knowing that we are secure and able to move forward. So these are things like personal security, employment and having income, resources to be able to get to our jobs, a car, or resources of other people who can help get us along in a process, health to be able to do anything, and property to be able to own something and know that you are part of something larger. So these are simple things that we also need to be able to help move us forward. So once we've met these bottom 2, which I believe are more the physical needs of life, we move into more of the people aspects of the needs in our life. So the next level is love and belonging. So this has friendships and intimacy and family and just a sense of connection and community. So I kind of see some of this section relating back to physiological needs with reproduction and sexual activity, because in healthy relationships, loving relationships, the relationship ends up in physical sexual connection, but we need this loving and belonging of community and friendships, friends that support us no matter what, and communities that are people who have like-minded ideas. So this is really where we get a sense of who we are within our larger community. And once we move past this, we move into esteem of respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, and freedom. So this is really where we have a sense of healthy relationships with others as well as ourselves. And once we move past this, we move into our last stage of self-actualization and really understanding who we are and being able to withstand the test of time and trials. And when we do have needs that come up in these lower sections, we've already met the highest level, so we're more equipped to meet our lower level needs quicker. So self-actualization is something that a lot of people, pretty much everyone wants. We want to understand who we are, what our purpose is, and really have a steadier sense of ourself. So people that are self-actualized have certain characteristics and behaviors that kind of signal that they are self-actualized. So some of the characteristics are they are spontaneous in action and thought. They're able to look at life objectively. They're highly creative. They are resistant to enculturation because they know what they believe and they know who they are. So they just don't go with the flow easily. They have a need for privacy because they understand boundaries. So these are some of the characteristics that people that are self-actualized exhibit. But how do you become self-actualized? Well, some of the tactics that they use are experiencing life like a child. So just jumping into things full-heartedly and giving it your full attention, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. Listening to your own feelings and really understanding them instead of pushing them aside or neglecting them or just rationalizing them away. You really want to get involved in those feelings to understand where they're coming from and how they can help you. Also, taking responsibility and working hard rather than just kind of throwing responsibility on others and just kind of barely doing what you need to. So these are some of the characteristics and habits of those that are self-actualized. So maybe now that we've gone through this, you can kind of understand where you are in this process and maybe take a look at where you need work. And now you can reach the top of self-actualization or esteem and then kind of revert back to a need for safety or loving and belonging or even physiological needs. So something in my life that's happening, I've gone through all these different stages and have reached them. But now I've gone back to needing safety with employment and a stable income. As an entrepreneur, it's hard to kind of create stable income when you're first starting out. So now that I've been in this entrepreneurial area for a while, I need to be able to learn how to grow and create that stable income to be able to provide for my family. But all these other areas I'm fairly well off in. I have food and water and shelter because I have relationships with people who love and care for me that provide some of these things for me. So maybe with this video, you've realized where you're at and maybe you've seen some steps that you need to move on towards the next or fulfill an area that's been lacking for a while. So now that you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can really work through it and hopefully become a better person today.